they're delusional because some fans are delusional. But as far as like the team got to prove it to him, you have to. And what more does this guy have to prove to say that he deserved a job? Scapecoached, because everybody like to say scapegoated, scapecoached. That's what happened. Steve Wilks is out just after one season as the San Francisco 49ers defensive coordinator. Give you a list of his previous jobs. He was with the Panthers, he was with the Cardinals, he was with the Chargers, and now I can add the 49ers to the list. On Wednesday during a press conference, the 49ers Kyle Shanahan let everyone know that he had let defensive coordinator Steve Wilks go. It was a tough decision, but it happened 10 minutes just before the press conference. Steve Wilks. Okay. I thought he was going to be the Commanders head coach. Honestly, I thought that's the guy that y'all was waiting for. That was one of the people I said. Because remember, y'all was taking so long. I said they're waiting for somebody from one of the. I think it was either Steve Wilks or Spags. I said they're waiting for one of them to finish the Super Bowl, and they can bring them in. Yeah, Spags gonna stay, but I'm just saying. I thought y'all was waiting for one of them. Last two defensive coordinators for the 49ers are head coaches. That's why they left. D'Amico Ryans, you clearly see what he's doing with the Houston Texans. Robert Saleh. I don't know how that's going to go with the Jets because it's so up and down with this Jets organization. But these were the last two defensive coordinators. What's up, Blaze? And they left on their own merit. Technically, we all know what the 49ers defense was when they both got there. Kyle Shanahan came out and he was like, well, I wanted to keep Steve because I wanted to keep some continuity with the team. He was already on one of the staffs. The players love him. Boom, promote him up. If you look at outside of the two playoff games with the Lions and the Packers, he showed up for the Super Bowl, the big game. You got it. Once we got there, he showed up because that defense was balling. Most people would say, and I hate that this is now attached to the 49ers, but if Greenlaw was still in that game, they may have won. Philly Nation, don't kill me. But they're going to kill me anyway. You see the star back there. But Greenlaw was doing his thing outside. He was doing his thing on Kelsey. He got him so frustrated that we talked about the bump on the last episode. So, how do I feel about this? He definitely was scapegoated. I know that's a term that goes around, but somebody, after you lose a Super Bowl of this magnitude, someone had to go, and it had to be a big name. Scapegoated, yes. Also, it's one of those things where you have to send ripple waves and shocks through the organization. It's like, okay, as a Cowboy fan, think about it like this. When Jimmy Johnson first got there, he talked to Mike Irvin. He said, look, what players want to be here? Because we about to shake some things up. And sometimes you have to cut the star player to let the rest of the organization or the players know that, hey, we mean business.
Yeah.
And I think that's what this was. It was like, we really don't want to let him go, but one of these two have to go. And Cal was like, it ain't going to be me. So you go, we'll find someone else, and we letting these players know that we mean business. I'll rebuttal after, but go ahead, Joe.
So I don't think he was scapegoated. I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised because first Steve Wilks wasn't there last year. He was the
He was with the Chargers.
He was with the Panthers.
There we go.
Yeah, he was an interim coach. That's what he was for the Panthers. Okay. And then he went and got your boy and let him go within a year. So
thanks for correcting me on that.
Yeah. So I don't think he was scapegoated because I want you to think about the 49ers last year defense and the 49ers this year defense. You would say last year is better, but they added more pieces this year, right? Last year, they were hurt. So look, this year, right? They ranked 8th in yards, 3rd in points. Last year, they ranked 1st in yards, 1st in points. They were the best defense last year. Last year, they gave up 20 or more points 4 times all last year. Like the Falcons, 28 against the Chiefs, 44. These 2 games, that's when they had like 7 people were hurt on the defensive side of the ball. Like 7. Commanders, I had to throw a Commanders. I was going to say over 20, but Commanders scored 20, so I had to add. Commanders
20 and above just to get in the club.
Commanders. Taylor Heineke did it. All right. So the Commanders and the Raiders. I'm not sure. Remember the Raiders? Remember Dave? The Raiders were up like 30 to like 7. And Dave was like, we gonna win this game. Dave was like, this is gonna be a tough game. It's the Raiders.
Yep.
That's when they just fired. They got rid of Derek Carr and other stuff. He said it's gonna be a tough game. We were like, man, Dave, we gave him a show.
I remember that episode.
Hey, relax, dog. These do with the overtime, right? They had to make a comeback too. So those were the only 4 teams that scored 20 or more last year, not including playoffs, obviously. This year, Tomo, and they were healthy for a majority of the year. I don't remember any major injuries they had, and they added Chase Young, and they added Randy Gregory, right? So
don't forget Hargrave too.
Yeah. They got better. Look, this year, right? They gave up over 20 to the Rams, 23, to the Minnesota Vikings, 22, to the Cincinnati Bengals, 31, to the Arizona Cardinals, 29, and to the Rams, 20. But they were 21, but they said a lot of people. Now, you might say, Joe, 4 last year, 4 this year. Like I told you, they missed 7 guys last year. 7 guys. And this team this year added guys, and they were healthy. All right? And then in the playoffs, we all know what happened in the playoffs, right? I was listening to Club Shay. I mean, Uncle Shay. Nightcap, him and Ocho, and former NFL players, right? So they know, they watch the game way differently than I do. He know Kyle Shanahan. I don't, right? He said it was one point in the last game, you could see Kyle Shanahan in the headset talking to Steve and like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like he was saying that. I was like, oh, it's not like. So that's why I'm not surprised and I listened to a Kyle Shanahan interview. He said that it's funny. He said we had to move on. It was a tough decision. This is not the tear down who he is as a person, who he is as a coach. I felt like he was the right person for us as a person, but he never said as a coach. I was like, oh, is that okay? And then they also asked him, do you think bringing an outsider in was a problem? He said, I think that's kind of part of the problem because these guys are used to playing in a certain system. He's basically an outsider. They also asked him being a DB type defensive coach versus a linebacker coach, does that make a difference? He said, yeah, that actually does make a difference because their strength is at the linebacker position. It's that front 7 too, and he's more known as he's a DB coach for real. So I get why, and it looks bad because if you're making a decision, Tomo, you're thinking like, when I make the decision, the backlash is gonna be, oh, he the scapegoat. You didn't do your job, Kyle. End of the day, Kyle not gonna fire himself, but if he feel like he can make an improvement on the defense, and I gotta get rid of this dude and promote somebody within the organization, I saw this coming for real. So I'm not surprised.
Well, the one bad thing about the 49ers defense was the secondary.
Yeah, and he was
a secondary, and he was a DB's coach. So the secondary played better this year. There was one game where I think was it Ward?
Yeah,
one of their starting cornerbacks got hurt. A rookie came in, had one bad play, and then the next play he get an interception. So that just shows you like the secondary played a little bit better this season than it did last. So it was a slight improvement.
One more All Pro this year?
I think so.
Yeah, I think you're All Pro.
Yeah. So going from the worst secondary to having, well, I wouldn't say the worst, going to a bad secondary to now where your secondary is got everybody on clamps. It was an improvement from last year. Now you will say other things did slack off because maybe his main focus was trying to get this secondary the back end on point. Because you like, look, the front end, we got Greenlaw, we got Fred, and they can basically run his defense. Because after that, you got the dogs, you got Bosa, you got Hargrave, you got Armstead, and then you go out and go get a Chase, and then you go out and get a Randy Gregory. So boom, I trust my linebackers to work with this front end. Let me work on this back end and make sure we're great. Because the front end can work. The front end can do all they can, but think about quarterbacks like Dak or Jordan Love. I wouldn't say Jordan Love, but think about quarterbacks like Dak who was getting the ball out after 3 steps. Right? If you're getting the ball out quick, your pass rush don't mean nothing because he's just getting the ball out quick. Maybe some of them was interceptions, but still, if the ball is out quick and your secondary can't do nothing, ask the Eagles. They had a good front seven, but their back end was trash. So if teams could get the ball out quick, you could score on them. So boom, he was like, let me tighten this up, and then boom. Honestly, I think if you keep him one more year, he can learn from his mistakes. I think this defense would drastically improve from what it was this year. Because now you got one more year under that system. You got one more year of the players, him understanding who the players are, who actually gonna be here. Because I seen this thing come up. I don't know if it was shared in the chat, but about the window. It was shared in the chat about their window. Their window may be closing because now it's time to pay players. Debo already got paid. I think Bosa's already been paid. But once you got to pay your quarterback, and I don't think Purdy gonna go for no. It was the only example I could use at the time, man. I'm sorry, but you have to pay your quarterback. Now, is Purdy gonna take one of those hometown discounts because of what the franchise has done for him? He probably could, but players when they sign their contracts, they got to think about everybody else in the league. Like, so if you take this type of deal, what is it? How is it going to affect the next quarterback? Because you went to the Super Bowl. So now owners are going to look and be like, well, Purdy went to the Super Bowl and he took this type of deal. You ain't never took us past the first round of the playoffs. I know you're better than Purdy, but technically I can go find one. Or it might send ripple waves. And I want to see who they actually bring in after that. Because I know Cowboys just signed their defensive coordinator, and I was watching the interview yesterday, and he got a phone call right before this news dropped, and he was like, "It's a guy calling me about a job." And then the news dropped that Steve got fired. I was like, "Is Steve trying to say something? Like, Steve, you trying to get your get back? Because you can come on down here and coach some of these players." Like, and we keeping Al Harris, Joe.
Oh yeah, you stood up strong when you said that. Just
I want y'all to know. But I think Kyle is at the point now where he understands, and I agree with your point on that one, but he understands like he's on the hot seat with everyone, not just the San Fran fans, everyone. Now he's on the hot seat because he done choked. This is the second Super Bowl as a head coach. You done choked.
Yes, because Tomo, Mike Vrabel, Bill Belichick. I mean, there are guys that's out there that's taking a year off.
Rex Ryan.
Rex Ryan. Imagine him in that defense, that attitude. Oof.
That might be their next DC. I ain't gonna say nothing though. Rex Ryan gonna try to find a way to get back in the league.
For real.
He
but
upset.
Like, there's some veteran coaches out here that you like, dog. I mean, but if Kyle Shanahan goes, John Lynch gotta go too. They're like one.
Yeah.
But I feel you. I think he is somewhat on a hot seat. I don't think he's all the way a hot because at the end of the day, he's getting them far every year. But they got the roster though. You know, and the times when he don't have his QB, they about to say in the lottery. They're like a 4-win team when you don't have his QB. You know, so it's gonna be tough. But I'm not surprised he got fired though, because throughout the season you can see like this defense ain't the same, bro. Like they're not lights out. Like last year you like, man, this is a really good defense. Really good defense. This year you kind of like, I mean, you can like, they're not really that good. They're good, but they're not the best. And
I mean, maybe because my team was on the other side of them, like putting a hurting on us, that I'm like, this defense was doing their thing. I don't know what you're talking about.
But I feel like offensively, they put more pressure on you because they are much better this year offensively. Like you look at the offensive scoring this year, they score like over 30 points almost every game.
That's true. 30 Purdy, that was his name.
Like they put pressure on you that way. Like you gotta score points to get this team. It was what Shannon Sharp always say, you can pin the ears back and just go after the quarterback. But like they sack numbers went down this year. You know, like they turn. Remember last year they was number one in turnovers too.
Yep.
So yeah, man, they got worse with more talent. So
Joe, you swayed me to the other side of the fence, man. I don't think he got scapegoated now. I got to change my opinion live on air because now that I think about it, the playoffs are when you actually can lock in. And like I just said in my open monologue about the Packers game, the Lions game, that kind of shows you who you were because he didn't have no interviews. Now, coaches who have interviews, I can see why their game plan is a little off because, you know, they're thinking about going to Washington. But when you're on your way to not having any interviews, I don't think Steve Wilks was asked or requested as an interview to be a head coach anyway.
I don't think so.
So you had nothing but time to prepare. So, yeah, nah. This defense is what you said it was. It decreased.
They did great against the Chiefs, but let's keep it real. The Lions exploded. Like we didn't watch the Lions game. We said, man, that was a great defensive play. It was more so like they fumbling the bag. Jordan Love, them interceptions he throw, dude. I mean, like you're not gonna look at it like, man, that was a great play by the defense. It was like, Jordan Love, what are you doing, right?
That's true.
So, and then in one time and then even Patrick Mahomes one interception. It was an overthrow, but they did good against Patrick Mahomes. Though.
I'll give them that.
Yeah, they did really good against Patrick Mahomes until overtime.
But you have to take those two games into account. They got him there. So think about it. Jordan Love, I think not Jordan. Purdy threw an interception in the Packers game, but they dropped it. The Packers dropped it. Now I think that's when they were trying to score. They held the Packers. They held them to a limit because if it was at one point, I don't think the Packers were scoring touchdowns. They were just getting field goals.
Yeah, they were moving the ball though.
Yeah, with that Lions game. If they lost that Lions game, you can flat out just fire them right there. Yeah. Like, I'm cool with that one because they were just running all over y'all. They was just doing whatever they wanted.
They were, and I had the number, but that like overall rushing yards per game, they were top 3, but yards per carry, they are not top 3. I had it, but I don't have it right now. But they are not like one of the best in the league in yards per carry.
No,
because teams aren't running ball on them for real.
Yeah.
You know, so
that goes back to the linebackers in the front.
Tell you, man, you gotta focus on the strengths. Like strengths, like strengthen your strengths. Don't take back from the strengths, and you know, so
and Blaze, he not going to Dallas because there's been a lot of shots from Zimmer as far as just that whole back and forth about Rex, what Rex said. So I don't think he would even have a staffing job in Dallas. I'm saying it here. I think he's gonna make a push to be with the 49ers now because of this whole how that Dallas thing played out.
I would love to see. I would like to see that.
Rex Ryan I don't want to see that. I don't want to see him. No. Go to the AFC. Don't come over here. Because now it's personal. And anything personal with the 49ers and Cowboys, you know how that go. Ask George, Mr. Two Catches.
Mr. Two Catches. Oh, you in on this too?
Yeah, I got to. Mr. Two Catches. Yeah,
he did with a shirt.
Yeah. No, that's personal.
Okay.
I ain't the Debo thing. I understand the Debo situation. That's their beef. I'm Mr. Personal.
Yeah, Kiddo was wild for that though.
It was done before, so he was just resparking that rivalry. That's all. I ain't mad at it. Yeah, I ain't gonna tweet him about it.
You say you did?
I'm not. Yeah, I like some of these, man. Look. When you censoring your tweet, when you censoring your Instagram messages, that's how I know you too old to be there. You should have went to Facebook like CD Mama. CD Mama did the right thing. She said, "I'm in my age bracket and I'm gonna get on Facebook." and the fact that somebody was even on Facebook to see that lets me know the Dallas Cowboys fans are old.
That's funny. She did go on Facebook.
That's why I wasn't mad at it. I was like, it's the right platform.
Oh man, that's so funny.
But I mean, once you get to the platform, you get to the big stage, you got to be able to show up, show out.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.